All right, we're live. Welcome, everybody. My name is Brad Sims. I'm the president of Capital Technology University. And today I have Steve Luczynski with me, who I would call him the founder of the Aerospace Village.
Oh no.
Maybe not the founder. He'll go through that in a bit, but the Aerospace Village is very exciting, very interesting. And so I thought, in our 30 minutes that we have here, um, certainly if you have questions, by the way, during the live, you can enter them in the comment section. But during this period, maybe we highlight real high kind of what is the Aerospace Village
Oh
for
yeah.
those folks who don't know, and then maybe go back and talk about the founding of it and the history of why it was needed to be founded. So I'll turn it over
Oh,
to you, Steve.
absolutely. Well, this is awesome. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate everybody joining in today and getting to support Cap Tech once again. And any chance I can talk about the village is always a good one. So I do appreciate that. Let's see. You said start high level. The easiest way that the aerospace village. So the way we came about and came into being is from DEF CON in the villages that DEF CON hosts, where you have the main conference and you can go to a variety of talks and just awesome content. Or if you want to specialize in something, that's what the villages do. So where there's a industrial control system village, there's a car hacking village, among many, many other villages. And so we saw the need for an aviation focused one. And we started off as the aviation village back in 2019 and quickly transitioned to aerospace village. So that was the founding ideas and the model with the villages from DEF CON. And then we do lots of things well outside of DEF CON even. But the village itself, the mission, that's the easiest part to really grasp the full scope and scale of the things we do: build, inspire, promote. That's a super easy way. I can rattle it off just because it's an easy tagline there. It's build relationships between government, industry, and hacker community. Not everybody likes to talk to each other. Not a lot of trust sometimes. How do we work on that? How do we continue building the relationships to build trust and maintain and grow it even further, where it has been happening very nicely over the few years, over the past few years, I should say. It's inspiring folks to get into cybersecurity, especially to get into cybersecurity in the aviation and space sectors. And I know that's a lot of what we share between Cap Tech and the Village, and has made us good partners previously. And then also promoting awareness, just the fact that there's people working on these problems, and we want others who don't know what's going on to continue trusting these systems, to continue trusting the safety of them and how we can rely on them in our daily lives.
So whenever, if like at DEF CON, of course, is a great example. I know we're both there, Capital Tech and Aerospace Village. What can you experience if you came into DEF CON and you wanted to go see the Village, Aerospace
Yeah.
Village? What can you do there?
Oh my gosh. So uh, I'll have to use some previous examples. We're just starting to plan what's going to happen at this year's DEF CON, coming up at the beginning of August, of course, out in Las Vegas. Um, the things we try to do is to bring in a variety for the audience at DEF CON to see things. And the way we describe it is a crawl, walk, run approach. What are the things that a beginner, their first time at DEF CON, maybe they don't have a deep technical background, they're getting into cybersecurity, they're interested in the aerospace sector, and they just want to learn more. So we want to have simple demonstrations and activities that they can learn from. They can get hands on. Sometimes it's just simple and fun, like a flight simulator, because those are incredibly fun. Other times it's we have a Lego aircraft, a Lego helicopter, and we have through Raspberry Pi a Raspberry Pi board, and what our super smart volunteers have created is showing representative of aircraft control systems and how a 1553 bus communicates, and a tutorial that you bring your laptop, you hook up to the Raspberry Pi board, and you go through the tutorial so you learn things, all the way up to where we are partnered up with Hackasat. So you have a very high level capture the flag competition and everything in between. Boeing has brought flat sats. AWS has segmented off part of their ground control network for a capture the flag competition on their items. We bring in super presenters, panels, and in-person talks. I was very fortunate last year. I did two different talks, basically hosting an interview, a discussion with the Chief Information Security Officer for United Airlines. And then another one I did was the Chief Information Security Officer for NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena. So just fascinating conversations, hearing what these folks, what they know from an executive level and from a technical level, among all the other talks and things that we bring in at events like DEF CON, similarly for what we're doing for RSA, and just the variety of things that we can support.
So let's go back kind of to the start of it. I mean,
Yeah.
Where's the idea? Who came up with it? Where did all that kind of kick off?
Yeah, absolutely. So if some of your audience may remember around 2014, 2015, there were different media reports about some security vulnerabilities on aircraft and what was being claimed and how it was being reported in the media, and different levels of just how things are talked about, sometimes a little more accurate than others. And so there was some concerns, and there were some valid concerns and smart folks that were looking into it, but it wasn't generally talked about out loud, is what it seems like. Things were going on in the background. And I know that's something I saw from my time working at the Pentagon and what we were doing across the government side of things. But there were some smart folks like Bo Woods and Pete Cooper. Bo was working at the Atlantic Council at the time, and Pete was in government, similar role like I was doing, and leaving and about to retire. Again, very similar to what I was experiencing. But their smart brains got together, and the Atlantic Council had supported a report with Thales, and Pete was the primary author on that. And it was talking about aviation cybersecurity, and that's something you can find online. It's with the Atlantic Council's Cyber Statecraft Initiative, and that first paper was published in 2017. Large number of interviews, bringing in the industry perspective, the government perspective, and the hacker perspective. So when you hear those three things, sounds familiar to our mission, right? You got these two smart guys. I'm sure there were others involved, but I know those two in particular, as they started talking about the idea of a village and getting others involved there, bringing their smarts together and bringing their connections together, so that in 2019 we put on the Aviation Village at DEF CON, and getting to see that, and how we pulled in these different partners and just the willingness of folks. Pen test partners is one of them. They brought in some older aircraft equipment, but it was used to demonstrate how these systems work. The Air Force supported it, brought in an F-35 simulator. Again, just gee whiz, but it attracts the crowd, people who want to see this. They want to enjoy the fun side of it, as well as they want to come in and talk to folks. We had a number of different activities. Patrick Kiley, working with Rapid7, had done a coordinated disclosure about a CAN bus vulnerability that was published by CISA. So a good example of that government hacker working together to bring these vulnerabilities out. So those things and what it resulted in the first year: no budget, volunteers, and how we've continued to grow that with our volunteer force and what we do now, and all the things that we can bring together for these various events.
Excellent. Let's pull up the website here real quick.
Yeah, you bet. And I'm happy to go through again the different events we have between DEF CON, RSA. Can talk about what we're doing for RSA and Hack the Capitol in the next few months, as well as Hackasat, which is another significant partner of ours, just based on the variety of work that those folks are doing.
Excellent. Why don't you highlight here? I pulled up the website.
Yeah.
If I'm going to Aerospace Village website and just want to check it out, anything
absolutely
highlight in this?
I am happy to give a tour, and I appreciate you calling that up there. So across the top, you can see the different drop downs. If you're interested, just from the the things I've described as far as our mission and what we're all about, that's under the About tab, of course. And getting in touch with us, right? We love to have volunteers. We're all volunteers. A lot of us across the United States, folks over in England. We have one young lady over in Japan, and we continue to grow. So it takes that volunteer force to make this happen. And
So you're not. This is not your full-time job, right?
oh no, it is not a full-time job. I am absolutely on my lunch break, and I'll work extra hours today to make the time to come in and talk to you all about this because I enjoy it so much. And that's what all of our volunteers dedicating their time and taking that time away from work and being able to do this, their time off or just working the extra hours. But that's where you can learn more about what we do just from a mission and how we approach things. The events tab that's up there, you can see what we've done in the past. So there's pictures underneath the past events from all of this will be our 5th year at DEF CON coming up. So we've got a number of years, including the virtual times. We've got our previous RSA events. We've also been to AIAA. That's the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. We've supported both their aviation and their space events. And so they're great partners of ours. And other events that we've done, even just speaking. The bad part of COVID was everything being virtual. The good part was we were able to reach out. So speaking at a conference, a hacker conference in Argentina, supporting the CAA over in the UK when they're having their events. And then finally, you can see at the very top, we've got RSA coming up here just shortly. And so what RSA does, they call them sandboxes. The whole area is the sandbox area. So we'll be out there as the Aerospace sandbox. So keep that in mind if you're looking for it. You won't see the Aerospace Village. But in that entire area, what you'll have is the ICS sandbox, the car hacking sandbox. There'll be some pop-up smaller villages showing up for a day like the XR sandbox. And I can't remember the others. I want to say Dark Arts and Internet of Things, but check the RSA website for those details. But those kind of folks coming together, including us, so that we can bring to that RSA audience a smaller, scaled down version of what you would see at DEF CON. And so that's a great effort that we partnered up with RSA. We've been supporting them now. This is our 4th year with them. Bringing in, so we have Boeing as one of our partners, bringing in, talking about continued aircraft airworthiness, especially from the cybersecurity side of how that impacts airworthiness. We also have pen test partners. They have built a desktop Airbus simulator, and they use that to demonstrate the vulnerabilities, research they have done on electronic flight bags that pilots use. And if there's a problem with that takeoff data, what does that look like to the pilot? How does that affect the aircraft and the performance? We also have 2 other partners, CT Cubed. They're bringing in a rover and a drone. They use that for training engineers how to design vehicles and build cybersecurity from the start. So think of it as a secure by design type of a model. And how the trade-offs impact the performance as well as the cybersecurity and how to learn from that, especially when you're talking about vehicles that are going out on deep space, Mars type missions and then some. So very interesting there. And then finally, Intelligenesis, they are bringing in it's a rig where in a Pelican case, it's a demonstration of a runway lighting system at an airport and the industrial control systems that are behind it, and the concerns with vulnerabilities and, again, how that can affect airport operations. We'll have our friends from Cal Poly out there also talking about their Space Grand Challenge, as well as AIAA. And again, just especially on the college day during RSA, that's a great event to have them be able to join us. So quite a bit going on with another RSA, even in that sense. And like I said, I apologize. I haven't paused because I love talking about what's going on with the village.
There's a lot, that's for sure. So those of you who can make one of these events, whether it's RSA or DEF CON, it's worth your time. You can spend the whole day just in the Aerospace Village. So
exactly. And we are happy to host everyone there too. So for the folks in the local area, also, you've got Hack the Capitol coming up on May 10 and 11. So I think that's right before HammerCon, the week before, I believe. if I have the date for your
Yeah,
event
yeah,
correct. So
I think so. It's a week before.
yeah, one more thing in the local area to join in on. We're going to support that. We have a speaker coming in. Hackasat plans on being there, as well as displaying a CubeSat or FlatSat that they use for the contest. They'll bring that in and talk about it, as well as Intelligenesis joining again. So we love being able to show this gear off, being able to bring those experts. So anybody that's interested, whether it's just learning about what we do in the village, or if they just want to learn about everything going on in this sector, these are the kind of conversations we love having with folks.
So if somebody wants to be involved with Aerospace Village, should they use the contact on the website, or should they message you through LinkedIn, or how's
Mhm.
best to contact
All,
you?
all of those are great ideas. Absolutely. So yeah, our contact form on the website, that is, you will get somebody. A lot of times it'll be me on the other side of that email, but one of the team will answer that and make sure to get you connected. If you're looking to just volunteer in general, happy to have you in. We meet throughout the year for these different events and planning things, and we ramp it up quite a bit more, of course, as we're getting ready for bigger events like DEF CON. Or if you just want to volunteer, hey, I just want to do that one event. And if you simply want, hey, I have a talk or I have an idea for an activity, we're happy for any level, any participation, as much time as you want to give or ideas. Of course, if you want to reach out to me because you feel the need to donate funding to support these efforts, I will gladly talk to you about that. Absolutely. So, but more importantly, on our social media also, on Twitter, we are at Secure Aerospace. And on LinkedIn, we are the Aerospace Village. So you're, again, welcome to reach out there, follow us, tag us on things that you think are interesting in the cybersecurity side of aviation and space. Engage with the content that we're putting out. We're also on Discord. That'll soon be posted. We're having a new website update, so you'll start seeing links to those things showing up very soon. But yeah, we love to have people come in. All the variety of conversations that are going on in our Discord channel, and that was born out of when we were virtual during COVID for DEF CON, but it served us very well. We use it for our planning. We use it for our regular discussions, the exchange of ideas and articles, the badge work that we do. There's just a number of things that are going on in there.
And so, if you want to request the Aerospace Village to be at a conference or something, I know there's a limited time
Mhm.
because it's all volunteer. And you have a lot of folks who have asked.
Yeah.
What would be the best way to come to the Aerospace Village and show that we really like you to participate?
Yeah, so any of those methods, the email, the contact on the website, we have both for the press side of things or just simply the general email that goes to. If you have a specific request that you think we would be good to support, absolutely. Same thing through our social media. Of course, you can reach out to me. I'm happy to answer anything through my own social media. But we gladly entertain those requests. We're happy to try to fit that in with things based on people's availabilities. And the good news is because we have folks all over, it makes it it makes it easier. We might be able to find somebody nearby who can attend an event like that.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So, the current news articles that you see coming out finally have caught up with the fact that aviation and cybersecurity is a major, major issue, which, seems strange it takes so long for it to pop up. Um, what's what do you think with Aerospace Village that you can really bring out there for those who don't quite understand how important it is? Seems like we're going down that path now in the news, cycle about the issues along with that. Any thoughts on where the village is going to be focusing on that this year, since it seems to be newsworthy?
Yeah. I don't know if it's a different focus for the village, but two things jump out in what you're saying. The first is making sure the right understanding is out there. And what I mean by that is it doesn't matter what somebody says or publishes. Sometimes how it gets interpreted, right? Human nature and how it gets reported does not come out exactly as you expect, right? I've given interviews. I'm like, I don't remember saying exactly that, and or how it's written up, things like that. So a lot of times, part of the promote in our mission is making sure it's a clear understanding of what's going on, because it's not nefarious. It's just the nature of how things are communicated and written, where it's making sure folks understand, like, this is what's going on. These are the experts to talk to and answer questions. And we've done that before, helping media where they have questions for things like, how does that really work? Somebody in our network, and usually we can find someone to help them out with that. I think another focus area along the lines of what you were asking is space is, it seems like it's always a focus area, and it's not that it really goes away, but it certainly has more peaks and things like that, where you see different incidents in the news because of what's going on in the world and how space impacts that and how important it is. And when it's not there, the issues that it causes. Similarly, I think it's something that I know when we had space, when we were the aviation village, when we started out, space was a part of that aviation ecosystem that we talked about and we acknowledged. But it's when we really thought about it, and especially when the idea for Hackasat came out of that first DEF CON that we did, that's when we decided we're going to change to the aerospace village. We're really going to highlight the role of space. And now, over the years, what we see is, as it's talked about more and more, the timing's perfect, because we want people to understand you may not do anything in cybersecurity, you may not do anything related to space, at least you think, but financial transactions, that's controlled through GPS timing to make sure the money moves the way it's supposed to move. Some of the safety systems in our cars and our boats and our aircraft, those are all dependent on satellite systems, GPS, and then some. In addition to just basic things we do on our phone and maps and navigation and things of that nature. So there's just so many things that we don't always know about or fully understand there what's going on in the background that are space based. So it just continues to be a topic that keeps coming back up.
No, all good points. Makes, you kind of make a point that I wish I still had my 1976 Chevy Blazer, which wasn't connected in anything.
Right. You don't have to worry about. Yeah. So, hey, before I forget too, I did not mean to gloss over Hackasat. I mentioned that as something, as that's one of our primary partners. And again, that's the beauty when you have a smart partner like that who is promoting what is going on in the space sector, the need for that talent. That's why it's been a good connection between the two of us. That idea came out of the very first DEF CON, talking about the space segment, and between Pete Cooper and Dr. Will Roper, who was the Secretary of the Air Force for acquisitions at the time, the idea of we should hack a satellite on orbit. And what we're hoping to see this year is the CubeSat or FlatSat. I can't remember which one it is. I apologize to my Hackasat friends, but that satellite on orbit and the teams being at DEF CON right there with us. We're going to be hosting them in part of the Aerospace Village, but they're going to have that final round. And this is a very high level, highly skilled teams, very complex puzzles in this capture the flag. So if you want to come in and see those teams, please come by the village. That's how you're going to be able to get over to see these teams in action and see who comes out on top and wins this entire competition. This has been going on. This will be the 4th year of it now. It's just amazing to see what they're doing. Matter of fact, their social media, Hackasat, if you want to jump in, the qualifying rounds are starting in 1 or 2 weeks from now. So you still have a chance if you want to join in.
Excellent. Yeah. At Capital Tech, we have the bachelor's degree program in astronautical engineering. And one of our labs that has the full array of satellite data from an actual satellite that's decommissioned anymore. So students are thrown into that, and the instructor will go in and cause problems, and they have to find the solutions to that satellite. So if you haven't talked to the instructor, Steve, you might want to. He's Marcel. Do you know Marcel?
I think I want to say I've at least been on a call with him before.
Right. It'd be interesting. He does a lot of things with the software that allows you to control the satellite, but I'm wondering if maybe a conversation just to make sure that if he's not throwing in more cyber stuff could be a good add for the students to learn on our satellite.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we can certainly connect in with folks who can help out on that. Just because, again, the variety of experts that we bring in and the things that they offer is just tremendous. And that's exactly the kind of thing we want to do is how do we make the training better to improve the workforce, to help folks get inspired to get in there and help get after these hard problems.
Excellent. So just throw back up the website here real quick for folks.
Yep, aerospacevillage.org.
I'll put the link up there again, aerospacevillage.org. Again, if you're interested in volunteering or talking to Steve about something, please contact him through the websites.
Absolutely.
And
happy to have anybody join in. That is always welcome.
And also go ahead and highlight the upcoming events that the Aerospace Village will be at from this point through the rest of the year.
Oh, goodness. Yes, absolutely. So we have RSA, it's RSA out in San Francisco. That's April 24, 25, 26, 27. So that is almost that entire week. Then Hack the Capitol on the 10th and 11th. That's out at MITRE in Tyson's Corner, free. So for folks in the DMV, an easy event to get to. And then, of course, DEF CON. And I have to look up the dates real quick just because I forgot those. It's a little bit further out.
In Vegas.
10th through the 14th.
All right. We'll be there as well, Capitol Tech. We've been there for over 10 years now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it's a great event.
Good to be in person again, too.
Yeah. And that's it for the rest of the year, or will there be more eventually that you roll out?
There's more. There are other speaking engagements that we've been invited to that we're working and coordinating to bring speakers in, whether it's us with those speakers on stage or just being able, again, to connect and support those events because that's for our partners and it's the benefit for their audience and ours across all of these different areas.
And I will say for those listening that if you can get to DEF CON in Vegas in August, you can actually see multiple villages, not just the aerospace. So if you want to experience lots of different villages, cross section of the industries, it's an excellent location to visit.
Is it easy to fill up an entire weekend? Have no doubt. Plus, there's other conferences you can fill up an entire week, all at the same time.
So thanks, Steve, for joining us today. Yep. Thanks to those listening. Aerospace Village is a great tool to bring hands-on. I mean, you're in there, hands-on examples of what's going on with aerospace and especially around cyber. And so I guess the only other question is, when do you plan to create a virtual Aerospace Village?
Right now we have our YouTube channel. It's all of our leftover recordings and things from the different events that we had to be virtual. And we're adding to it. Matter of fact, one of our volunteers is continuing his series about building and flying a drone and getting the licensing and the rules and all the things that he's looking at, again, from that cybersecurity perspective. So that's just one example where we continue to build that out. And absolutely, if folks want to come in and record things and add to that, we're happy to host them.
Excellent. Well, thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Glad I got a chance to talk with you again, too.
All right. Thanks, everyone.